This is the type of humor that I approve of on TikTok. Hey everyone, it's Dr. Austin, and for those of you who know me from TikTok, you know that I've been on TikTok for over a year at this point now, and lately there's just been a lot of concerning health-related TikToks that have shown up on my For You page. So I saved a bunch of them and figured that, let's react to some of them because I think that there are lessons to be learned. Now I know that TikTok isn't always meant to be serious, it's often lighthearted and humorous, but I think there's a growing element of education and more health professionals who are jumping on the app. It's an opportunity to educate people, but at the same time we need to be careful about some of the bad information that is being put out there. So for those of you who know me on the app, I do the dances, I do the skits, I participate in trends, I talk sometimes, and I do a whole variety of things on TikTok. Now I don't know if any of you remember this, but I've been on the app for long enough to remember that early last year there were several instances of health professionals getting into trouble for doing unprofessional things. And so I think within the health professional community, whether it's nurses, dentists, doctors, that has gotten better. But I think that in general, there are a lot of other people talking about health on the app that is really sometimes very misleading. Some people might not even know that they aren't actual health workers. So that's what I'm gonna get into today. And for most of these TikToks, this is not a critique on anyone's character, on the person, or even the delivery of the content, because trust me, there are plenty of cringeworthy TikToks that I've made myself, but it's more so about the information that's being delivered in the TikTok. Okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started right now. So we have someone making fun of someone having a seizure. All right, before I comment on him, I want to show you another example that went viral that I also saved as well. I don't even know where to begin. I feel like these TikToks are just so offensive and disrespectful to patients. And as an obesity medicine doctor who has to treat patients who suffer from obesity all the time, there's a way to deliver a health message without being offensive or disrespectful. And clearly this is not it. I'm all for body positivity, but when patients come to me with actual health issues as well, I have to address that, and there's a way to do that that's respectful, that's still not demeaning in their appearance. This is perpetuating the stigma around obesity, and it really serves no purpose. So as much as some people might find it funny, it's just really offensive. And making fun of someone having seizures, I don't understand what motivates someone to make something like this, or how anyone finds it funny, honestly. So of course I had to do some further investigation to understand why someone wearing a white coat could get away with posting TikToks like this, and come to find out he was actually dismissed from medical school, which also begs the question, why is he still wearing a white coat doing these things? What sort of satisfaction does it give him to make TikToks like this? But the fact that he got into medical school in the first place is also kind of concerning. Okay, moving right along.
This is why an alkaline diet is magical and can heal you from illnesses and incurable diseases. All of the blood that runs through your body has a natural pH of 7.3, meaning it's alkaline. So wouldn't it make sense to eat alkaline foods for your body to function at a higher level? An alkaline diet reduces inflammation in the body, which is where most illnesses and diseases come from. High inflammation, too much mucus in the body, and poor circulation is the #1 cause of any disease, period.
I have one simple answer about this. The pH of our bloodstream self-regulates, and it's held within a very narrow window. So any diet that you eat, your body has to regulate that, otherwise your cells are not going to survive within your bloodstream. And we know this because when people are critically ill and we test their blood pH, if there are major fluctuations, we know that that's not a great sign. Our blood pH is regulated through two main functions. One is our respiratory system, how much CO2 we're either breathing off or retaining if we're not ventilating well enough, or through our kidneys. So these two systems tend to balance each other out.
There's a cure for COVID. Madagascar's government claimed they created a cure for COVID last April. COVID Organics is a natural herbal medicine said to cure patients within 10 days. It contains 62% Artemisia or wormwood, a plant imported in the 1970s from China to treat malaria. The World Health Organization is skeptical because there hasn't been any scientific studies done, but there have been clinical observations.
There's so much to unpack with this one, but I think he answered it for himself. There have been no scientific studies that have been done. This is not a COVID video, so I'm not going to get into the details of it, but remember that I would just like to know how this herbal juice is going to take someone off a ventilator. Okay, next one.
Tips from the ER. We don't know what's wrong. That's right, after all the poking, prodding, touching, and undressing, your scans, your blood work, and your labs came back, and we can finally tell you that we have not one fucking clue why you are in pain. You think you'd be happy to hear that nothing's wrong with you, but you hate that answer. You'd rather be told you were dying. At least that would justify why you stressed out, rushed to the ER, and spent 6 hours at the hospital. Sometimes all you needed was a day off. Ibuprofen, rest, and a better diet. If something hurts to move, stop moving it. Hurts to move your arm? Stop moving your arm. Learn some physical therapy. You'd be surprised how many people have no idea how to use their own bodies. Anyways, thanks for coming to see us. That'll be $2,000.
So this is a prime example of medical gaslighting. And it's basically telling people, well, we're probably not going to figure out what's wrong with you, so just stay home. So if you're going to move your arm and it hurts, then don't move it. So first of all, this guy, even though he's wearing scrubs, is an ER tech. It's true that sometimes we can't figure out what's going on based on one basic set of labs and some basic scans. But the whole point of the emergency room is to see whether or not you need to be admitted to the hospital for further urgent investigation, or if it is something that's stable enough that you can be followed up as an outpatient so you can have further workup done. It's not to say, we're done, we're giving up on this, you don't have any diagnosis that we can figure out. And unless you've had experience with patients who have held out going to the ER while their condition got worse, only to come to the emergency room later on having gotten even worse, then you wouldn't know how harmful something like this truly is. And you know, yes, our healthcare system is messed up, but if you have an urgent concern that requires you to go to the emergency room, you should go and get it checked out, or at least talk to your primary care doctor if you have one, or go to an urgent care center to be evaluated in person to make sure that nothing serious is going on. It is really frustrating to see that someone like him has been able to build a massive following on inaccurate information. Okay, moving on. Okay, signs of an unhealthy gut. First of all, this is one of my pet peeves, talking about what an unhealthy gut is. Do you mean bloating, constipation, cancer? What is it do you mean by unhealthy gut? To say that fatigue and gas are signs of an unhealthy gut, those are things that everybody experiences. And of course, again, she's in a white coat, so I have to do a little bit of further investigation. And I realized that even though she calls herself a doctor, she does not have any of her credentials listed. And when I look her name up online, there is almost no information about her credentials. She's neither MD or a DO. And this is what is really irritating, is because what do you expect people to do with this sort of information? Okay, moving on.
Hey lovely, thanks for your comment. So when it comes to bloating, you really need to understand the root causes as to why you're bloated. I have discovery calls and I meet with so many people about their gut issues, and a lot of the times bloating happens because of low stomach acid. It is not talked about enough, but when you have low stomach acid, it means that your food is being partially digested.
Okay, let's just stop right there. Low stomach acid is just simply not the cause for bloating. Big chunks of food exiting the stomach is not the cause for bloating. What's really interesting is that we saw earlier that people are trying to promote alkaline diets, and yet at the same time they're saying that low stomach acid is causing these issues. The contradiction of it all. My fear with advice like this is that if people are having true symptoms, they're delaying seeking medical care because they're adopting other remedies that might sometimes make them feel better, but isn't actually addressing the underlying issue, because this is not based on anything. Worse yet, if people actually have reasons to lower their stomach acid with the medications that we have for acid reflux, etc., sometimes people need to be on these medications to prevent progression to cancer. In Barrett's esophagus, for instance, these are changes at the bottom of your esophagus that can happen with chronic acid exposure, and if you're not on those acid-lowering medications, it can potentially allow it to progress to cancer. People who do not have proper medical training should not be talking about health topics like this. Okay, so I'm going to make a whole different video about probiotics in the future. So if you want to see that when it comes out, please subscribe and click the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. But long story short, if we look at the current evidence and the latest guidelines from the American Gastroenterological Association, one of the major GI societies, there are actually very few conditions where there's concrete recommendations to take probiotics. And even when there are recommendations, the evidence is not great. Now again, she's wearing blue scrubs, she has doctor in her name, but if you look very closely at her profile, she practices naturopathic medicine. Her degree is an NMD, not an MD or a DO. And that's a whole nother discussion, but sometimes some of these conditions actually require medical therapy. So natural remedies may help to a certain extent, but we just have to be really careful when some of these diagnoses really actually require medical attention.
This is a health tip that actually works. If you drink a gallon of water every day, you won't have time for other people's BS because you'll be too busy peeing.
This is not a bad one at all. She had me in the first half. And then she went on and I was like, this is too funny. I had to save it. This is the type of humor that I approve of on TikTok. But that's enough for today. This has totally stressed me out. I mean, you can imagine my frustration and why after college I had another 11 years of medical school and training. And even now there's so much that I don't know and that I'm still learning. But it takes that much time to have even the most basic understanding of a specific field and to be able to evaluate medical evidence appropriately. Well, if you like this video, remember to please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you so wish. And I will see you in my next video. Until then, please stay healthy, stay safe. I'll see you soon. Bye.